While the COVID-related cancellations in college sports continue, we're back for one final episode of the semester to break it all down.
Sports is all wrapped up for the fall semester, and so are we as we bring you the final OwlSports update in 2020, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of OwlSports Update for one final time in 2020. Alongside graduating senior JJ Myhowski, I'm Brooklyn Vaughn. While you are all enjoying a week of relaxation and your turkey dinners, so much has happened in the world of Temple sports.
It was a pleasant Thanksgiving break for most of us, but for Temple basketball, COVID-19 postponed tip-off for the second time in 2020.
Temple fans were excited to get their season underway this past weekend, but as most things have gone in 2020, COVID-19 had other plans. Both games in the Army Hall of Fame tip-off tournament were canceled, and every other game through late December was postponed thanks to a 2-week program-wide COVID shutdown.
The last time the team took the court was March 7th in a 64-63 loss at Cincinnati. Temple will now have to wait until at least December 22nd to take the court, pending any more COVID restrictions.
After a string of cancellations due to COVID-19, as of right now, the Owls are set to face off against Houston on December 22nd. After that, the Owls will host the SMU Mustangs on December 30th, and Temple's next AAC matchup will take place in the new year on January 2nd when the Owls host Memphis. All the start times are to be announced, and games can be watched on ESPN+. Although there is much uncertainty surrounding this team right now, one thing is for sure, Temple basketball is excited about its new faces on the roster, and boy, are there quite a few. OwlSports Update's LINDSEY MOPPERT brings us the story.
Thanks, Brooklyn. This year has undoubtedly brought many changes. One of them being the addition of 8 new players to the men's basketball team. Each year, varsity teams expect to lose a few players here and there. But the Temple men's basketball team is going through a jarring makeover. The Owls have added 8 new and mostly young faces to their roster.
I'm excited about these young guys, and it's going to be a lot of ups and downs with them, a lot of heartache, but it's part of it.
This group includes 4 transfers and 4 true freshmen. The team veterans have worked to create a team chemistry that seemed to come easier than expected, even with COVID.
Just because of the young guys and how willing they are to learn and go hard every single day.
And their willingness to learn and love for the game will go a long way as these younger players are bound to shape the future of Temple basketball. And now is an appropriate time for this change. This is head coach Aaron McKee's second year, and the Owls are trying to build a foundation that will show an improvement over last season's sub-500 record.
Whatever toughness they got, competitiveness that they got, we're going to need all of them.
Just come in ready to work, and the young guys have been doing a great job at it, just locking in on each day.
But right now, that attack is on hold due to COVID protocol issues. The Owls' first game of the season has been pushed back until December 22nd against the University of Houston. And just in time for that first game, sophomore guard Caliph Battle's NCAA waiver was approved just last week, making him immediately eligible to play in late December with the rest of the Owls. Brooklyn and JJ, back to you.
That's exciting news. Thank you, Lindsay. And here at OwlSports Update, we like to stay optimistic and positive, especially in the year 2020. So we're going to assume that this season is going to resume. And for that, we would like to take a deeper dive into some expectations for this new look basketball team.
We have a guy who doesn't mind waiting out a basketball season. It's the Corona Madness legend himself and Courts in Session anchor, Josh Safran.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Josh. So let's get right into it. Burning question from everybody. We want to know, what are your expectations for Aaron McKie at the helm going into year 2?
Yeah, Brooklyn, that really does seem to be the big question this year, and my expectations are not the highest. Now, I think Aaron McKie's a great leader. I think he's a great man, but they brought Aaron McKie in for his recruiting. You see teams like Memphis and what they do when they bring an NBA player as their head coach. You see James Wiseman in the NBA. You see Precious Achiuwa in the NBA. I'm not seeing those type of recruits coming to Temple, and now he had some kind of questionable rotations as well this year. I think this is a rebuilding year for McKie to kind of build his team.
Well, we saw a lot of transfers from Temple, some of those Aaron McKie recruits, such as Josh Pierre-Louis, but who's Temple going to miss more? Quentin Rose, Alani Moore, or Josh's brother, Nate Pierre-Louis, all graduating seniors?
Well, JJ, that's a pick your poison type question right there. No winners here. Alani Moore, great guard play, but I think Temple has that this year with Damian Dunn and Ty Strickland. Quentin Rose was supposed to be their best player for years to come, but he was on a steady decline. And that's why I'm going to go with Nate Pierre-Louis, because he's a 3-and-D player that I think Temple might be missing a little bit this year. As I said, I like their guard play. I need to see a little bit in the post, but that's something they've been struggling with the last 2 years. So Nate Pierre-Louis, he's the guy for this team that they would love to have him back.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to more of you on Courts in Session with Sage Hurley, which will be starting up in January. So we hope our viewers at home tune in for that.
Thank you.
Temple women's basketball team revealed its new threads ahead of Thanksgiving break, and the new uniforms are looking good. The new jerseys come as a part of Temple's deal with Nike, which began on July 1st. The Owls will debut their jerseys during the season opener against Villanova.
As the team prepares for its first road trip to take on Florida Gulf Coast this coming Sunday, let's take a closer look at a bird battle, the Eagles and the Owls. Keep in mind, Florida Gulf Coast has already played 4 games this season, and the Owls are on high alert for 6'1" sophomore Kirsten Bell. She's appeared in just 1 game and put up 24 points, shooting 58% from the field. Junior Tashara Morehouse has played in 3 games, averaging 21 points from the field. Overall, the Eagles are 2-2 on the year, with both losses coming against nationally ranked opponents. Some players to watch this year for the Owls include sophomore Osona Alexander, who last season had a bit less than 5 points per game, along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. But a bigger role for Alexander is expected, and senior Mia Davis will have a lot of the attention after being placed on the Cheryl Miller Award list and a watch list for the Becky Hammond Mid-Major Player of the Year this preseason. David averaged a double-double last year with 19 points and 10 boards per game. There is a lot to look forward to, with fingers crossed that COVID will allow the Owls to have a season.
As Brooklyn mentioned, Temple women's basketball is ready to get its season started this weekend. Courts in Session anchor Josh Safran had the chance to talk with the women's basketball team to preview the upcoming season.
We'll be able to score differently, or we'll be able to play differently, because the guys we have now are really committed to really playing, all around. They can score, but they really are focusing in on the defensive side. So they might not be as great a shooter as Lena, as Marissa, but they're going to defend and stop people from scoring. We're going to be a lot faster. These guys that we have now are more athletic, so we'll get up and down and transition, push the ball.
Temple gets its season started on December 4th with a 12 p.m. tip-off versus Villanova. The Owls will then travel to take on Florida Gulf Coast University. Tip-off for that game is set at 2 p.m. on December 6th. As always, fans can tune in on ESPN Plus or follow along at OwlSports Update on Twitter. The Owls have fought COVID all season long. Problems started in September when their season opener versus Navy was pushed back. This continued well into November when the Owls game versus ECU was delayed for 1 hour due to contact tracing. And finally, a few days before the season finale versus Cincy, 21 players tested positive, leading to the cancellation of Temple's final game of 2020.
For 2 weeks, starting last Wednesday, with the number of COVID cases that we had test on Wednesday from our Wednesday round of testing. So we won't be back in there till a week from Wednesday. And then that'll give us a week together before signing day. and then we will go from there. We dealt with COVID, and quite frankly, guys, COVID, won.
And to break this chaotic season down just a bit more, we now bring on Inside the Nest host Adam Cronali. Hey, Adam.
Hey guys, I think it's only fitting that somehow I found my way onto JJ's last show, ready to talk in Temple football and send this old man on his way.
Thanks for that, Adam. So let's get right into it. If Anthony Russo had played all the games this season, or more games than he did, do you think Temple could have finished at or above 500?
Yeah, JJ, so coming into the season, I said that the Owls would finish around 3-5. I think that would have been more to what their record would have shown if Russo was under center, and especially some of their other key offensive weapons like Jaden Blue playing a few more games, especially Randall Jones. I think with Russo under center, though, for sure, they would have been closer to 3 wins. Maybe not exactly 500, but I don't think we would be looking at a Temple Owls team that finished with only 1 win.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Adam, but I do want to look ahead now to next season or years to come in the future. Who are some standouts from this past year, who you're excited to have your eyes peeled out for next time?
Yeah, Brooklyn, I'm really excited to watch the future of Onassis Neely out of the backfield, the running back. You look at his high school accolades, he was a stud. And you look at his stats this year, once Ray Davis transferred, he got a few carries, he got his first collegiate touchdown out of the way, and just his explosiveness out of the backfield. He's a power guy, but he's also a speed guy. I definitely look for him to have a bigger role next season.
Sweet. Onassis Neely wrote it down, noted. Thank you so much, Adam. Great stuff as always. It was great having you.
Thanks, guys. JJ, take care, bud.
The Owls have undoubtedly struggled this season, finishing under 500 for the first time since 2013. After winning a close game versus South Florida and losing starting quarterback Anthony Russo in their game against Tulane, Temple struggled to put points on the board, showing off 5 different quarterbacks in a season that ended with a 5-game losing streak.
Turning away from the courts and outside of Edberg Olson Hall, Temple's athletes who weren't able to play this semester are eager to return to action in the coming weeks, with fall sports pushed to the spring and regularly scheduled spring sports getting the green light. It should be a full slate for Temple athletics come January. And OwlSports Update's Marco DeLuca brings us the story.
During the month of August, almost every sport here at Temple, except for football, was postponed until the spring season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So fall sports will now be spring sports just for 2021, but that's not to say the upcoming seasons will be business as usual. Each Temple team, such as soccer, field hockey, and volleyball, will continue to navigate the ever-changing COVID safety protocols, all with the goal of having a season this spring.
There's a lot of moving parts, right? So it's changed every week of the fall when we weren't playing, and I'm sure it'll continue to change. It's the year of adapting.
For more than anything else, I want the opportunity for the student athletes to be able to play.
This move to the spring is unprecedented, just like so many other things in 2020. Most fall teams have been on and off the field since the summer, just hoping to get that green light.
I'm sure I'm echoing thoughts of other coaches as well that, it's not easy. A lot of them have been here since July, and my goodness, the energy, the enthusiasm, the effort was there every day. And it's not easy when there's so much uncertainty swirling around.
Make sure that whatever is thrown at us each day, we adapt and we make it work. And I think we just keep preaching that we are trying to still propel this program in the right direction and leaving a legacy. And it's bigger than us right now, unfortunately.
The tentative schedules for all of the sports have been released, with most fall teams starting their spring seasons between late January and early February. Reporting for OwlSports Update, I'm Marco DeLuca.
Thanks, Marco. So although nothing official has been released by Temple Athletics or on the conference level, here are the dates set by the NCAA that each sport is permitted to resume action. Volleyball on January 22nd, followed by men's and women's cross country on January 23rd, and then men's and women's soccer on February 3rd. And last up is field hockey on February 12th. And of course, OwlSports Update will continue following these developments as they come available, so make sure you stay tuned to our social media coverage in the coming weeks.
Temple's fencing team found itself in the national spotlight a season ago, reaching national ranking inside the top 5. Now, following the coronavirus pandemic, Naomi Ross has the chance to not only represent a nationally ranked team at Temple, but also the United States in Tokyo during the 2021 Olympics. OwlSports Update's Kelly Faringer joins us with more. Hey, Kelly.
Thanks, JJ. Naomi Ross has been fencing for 13 years, and although she may have never imagined she'd be doing pentathlon, she has begun the process that could be leading her to the Olympics. COVID has been tough on just about everyone, but this pandemic is one reason fencer Naomi Ross might be able to live out her Olympic dream. In October, the U.S. Olympic Committee designated Ross as an elite pentathlete, which is one major hurdle in her goal to represent the United States next summer in Tokyo.
Well, I started because I watched Princess Bride, and I asked my mom to let me ride, and she said no. And so I was like, okay, second choice is fencing. So she said yes, and I did. So I stuck with it.
Which has worked out very well for Naomi. The 5 components of a pentathlon include fencing, swimming, equestrian show jumping, pistol shooting, and cross-country running.
So my coach that I started fencing with, she knew the head coach of USA Pentathlon at the time. So a lot of the kids that she had with fencing, she would eventually introduce them to pentathlon. And I just kind of stuck with it. I didn't really ever decide that this is what I was going to do. I just ended up doing it for a while.
And while Naomi's main focus at Temple is fencing for Hall of Famer Nikki Frank, she still has time for the other 4 sports.
She was the only one who was like, yeah, that seems possible. We'll do whatever you can do to help you. So it was nice.
Naomi will keep practicing as requalifications for the World Cup are pushed back due to COVID. While Naomi still has to compete in order to requalify, there will still be many remaining steps needed to secure her place in Tokyo next year. I'm Kelly Faringer reporting for OwlSports Update.
Here at OwlSports Update, we want to thank all of our viewers for tuning into our coverage of a very unique semester of college sports.
It certainly wasn't easy at times, producing multiple shows per week on Zoom with distance learning, but it taught us a lot this semester. We thought it'd be fun to take a behind-the-scenes look of OwlSports Update productions. It's the magic behind the madness of a student-run production.
Typically, OwlSports Update would meet in Annenberg Hall to conduct business as usual in TV Studio 3. 2 shows per week for Temple's live sports production team, a live studio environment. But this semester, that's all changed.
Cool Whip on it!
Yes, the show must go on, but in 2020, that means a show from home, distance learning, and a remote broadcast for everyone to see. Still, 2 shows per week for senior staff producers like junior Hailey Palmer, but now instead of live production, the shows are edited together to give Temple fans the information that they need to know.
It's going to be my first year producing overall, but honestly, it being online kind of gave me some extra confidence because it wasn't as much pressure being live.
The start of the semester was the big unknown. Executive producer and associate professor Matt Fine has had to adjust to prepare for every possibility, even going as far as having 3 plans for this semester.
We kind of settled into a plan B, the combination of having some sports, and even with being remote, we still can report on the sports because that's the direction our industry is going right now anyway.
OwlSports Update is made up of more than 40 students in any given semester. It took a collective effort from senior staff members and the volunteers to make this semester successful.
It's easy to get down. It's easy to say, hey, we're not in person. There's not all the sports. But they haven't done that. The senior staff, they're coming, they're bringing the energy. And when they bring the energy, it's easy to jump on their coattails and say, hey, yeah, if they're bringing the energy, I'm going to bring the energy as well.
With few hiccups along the way, the OSU crew got into a rhythm to produce shows every week. It wasn't always easy, and it was never business as usual. But the crew used old friendships, new leadership, and a little bit of Zoom magic to bring OwlSports Update to Temple fans everywhere.
Before we leave you today, I want to pass this off to JJ Myhowski for one final goodbye. This is his last episode of OwlSports Update as he graduates in just 3 weeks. JJ, I'm so glad that we finally got to share the desk together, though it may have been virtual. And I know I speak for everyone here at OwlSports Update when I say that you will be greatly missed, but congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate it. And it was nice to share the desk with you at least once in my time at OwlSports Update. It's been a long 3.5 years, but I can't go without saying thank you to everyone that's been so special to me, especially our executive producer and professor, Matt Fine, who makes the class and the club of OwlSports Update so special and such a great time to be a part of for everyone. So thank you, Matt, for everything that you've done for everyone involved. OwlSports Update will return in the spring of 2021, but for now, it's time for us to say goodbye. For Brooklyn Vaughn, I'm JJ Myhowski. Have a great weekend, everybody.